My coach at American River, Coach Hayflick, that you guys were talking about, the one thing that he really did help me out with was he never allowed anyone to feel entitled or to feel like they had something locked down.
Mhm.
I remember my first season, I worked my butt off to get to that starting rotation, and was very, very happy with how my season turned out. And you have your end of the year evaluations, and he'd come in and say, "Hey, proud of you. You did this, you did this, you did this. Great. And I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to go recruit someone to take your position."
Mhm.
And I'm like, I have another year. What are you talking about? And
Yeah.
that's just kind of that was his mindset was my goal as a coach is to go recruit someone to be better than you. And if you can rise up to that level and be the guy, then you will be our guy. But if you don't and you get stagnant, you get complacent, like we will recruit someone that's going to take your spot. And
I love that.
he's the only coach I've ever been told that from. When you're already a starter, normally it's kind of like, oh, it's your job to lose. And that wasn't his mentality. It wasn't my job to lose. It was my job to get again,
Yeah.
and so just not allowing me to be complacent and to constantly push to be better. That was huge for me as an athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that type of stuff just because I think that's a very real world lesson because once you go to college, once you get a job and have a family, all those different things, that's kind of the world that you live in. If you're not performing at your job, someone else is going to come in and take that from you. And it's your boss at that point is not going to say, well, you did really well last week, so I'm going to allow you to just keep cruising along. It's just not how it works. So it's just another example of a cool life lesson that you can learn from sports, which I think is awesome. So I think and it's competition. I think sometimes we think of competition solely as a way to compete with the opponent, but I've always felt like competition within the team is even more important because you're competing with or for your teammates. And I think, like you had mentioned earlier, if you have two people that are training together, you're going to get more out of the individual because they have someone there pushing them. And that's the same thing with competition, whether it's for a position or for a spot on the team. I think it's a smart way to use competition for sure. So I love hearing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, totally. I think competition is so big, especially when an athlete can, translate competition into other aspects of life, wanting to be the best in everything they can do and everything they put their mind to, like for me, I think I was a very average student personally. Like I wasn't born with a genius. I wasn't a genius, that's for sure. But, I hated getting B pluses. That was like a thing for me because I was super competitive. And I'm like, why am I going to get an 89% when I can have an A minus and get a 90? What can I do to get that little extra push at the end to help my GPA be higher, And so that was kind of a weird thing for me. But throughout school, that was like a big reason why I think I had pretty good grades was because I always was competitive, even in my grades with myself, And I think that's a kind of different and kind of weird, but a way that competition kind of transitioned out of sports into life for me.
Man, I want to take that clip right there and just pass it to every student. I don't know. Oh, Deb, you're a teacher, so I imagine you feel the same way because I feel like that's something that I wish athletes would do more often and understand that, like, hey, because I've always felt like if an athlete is struggling in school or maybe not even struggling, but just they don't care about the school side of their being a student athlete. It's like, to me as a teammate or as a coach, that makes me question how much you really want it on the field too, because it's part of the work that you have to put in